I wrote one of the first ebooks ever. It was in 1993, and I'm going to tell you the story. And if you look on the internet at the history of ebooks, there's a difference between an e-document and an ebook. There's always someone else who's going to say they had the first ebook, and I didn't, or maybe I did. But an e-document isn't really an ebook. Mine was, a couple hundred pages, and I'm not going to tell you what it was about. It's irrelevant. It was a book that I sold and published. It was not pornography. It's something that you will find in any bookstore. For example, like the Idiot's Guide, there's going to be an Idiot's Guide on the subject that I wrote. And it was 1993, and I knew some guy who worked for some microchip company with Linus Torvalds. If you know what I'm talking about, I'm pretty sure that was a company. And he was saying something like, oh, we're making this new computer chip. It's not on the market yet. You're going to hear about it within the next year. And it wasn't PowerPC, and it wasn't the Intel Pentium. It was another company. It wasn't the Alpha. And I don't think they ever got anywhere. Or maybe the company still exists, I don't know, but they were a chip design company. And he said, I read your ebook. So I had already written it at this point. And he said, you could sell this. So I wasn't thinking about selling, I was thinking about giving it away. So I had already written the ebook. It was 1993. I don't know how I got the idea to do it. Okay, so I will tell you how I got the idea. Back then, there was something called a FAQ, frequently asked questions. And these were some of the most important documents on the internet. They were the only documents on the internet. And you would go to a forum, and they would be posted in a forum, and they would have a list of interesting information. And there would be other people that would publish lists. It would be just, here's a list of computer manufacturers or something like that. And you would go and you would read the list, and it would be interesting information, something that people were searching for. So I said, I could do this, but I'm going to make mine more extensive because I was always posting, helping people, answering questions in the forums. And I said, I could write a book about all the knowledge that I have. It was like answering, that's what it was a FAQ. And I was like answering questions that people had that they were asking in the forums. And I compiled a huge list. And I had another one that I did that was extremely popular that I guess someone overtook once I gave it up at some point. That was more entertainment. It was more entertainment related. Interesting things, interesting facts that I had compiled over the years. So so I wrote my book answering all sorts of different questions. It was a giant FAQ is what it was. And it was not HTML because HTML did not exist at the time, or at least I didn't know about it. It was 1993. And eventually I converted it into HTML and I made it a website. You can click on all the links. And in mine, you could also, it was just like, my ebook was just like a website. You could read and there would be like links you could click on, and there would be an index page, and you would click and click and click, go deeper and deeper and deeper. There were photos here and there. I don't think there were any videos. And then there would be an appendix. So there was a part that had word definitions. So it was a complete book that explained everything. And it wasn't all just questions and answers. Like if I found something that I thought was really useful to people that would read this, so here's a table, here's a list of things that's really useful. I'd say, people need this information. It would be cool. It would be helpful. I'm going to put it in here. And it was, like I said, it was like 200 pages. I sold 1,000 copies. I made like $10,000 off of it. I would go to conventions, went to like 5 conventions, and I would sell it on floppy disks. It was 2 floppy disks. And I actually found a copy a couple of years ago. So I still have a copy somewhere in my place where I keep stuff back in New York. I don't live in New York anymore. But there's a box somewhere that has these discs in there. And it has the original box. I actually made boxes that I put the discs in and sold it for. And it's a disc that has a cover, a sticker printed on it. It doesn't have the date on it. But there are records on the internet that show the date that I had published it. and there's information out there that I, in fact, have done this. The problem with Wikipedia is that they can be a-holes sometimes. If you can't prove it beyond a reasonable doubt through the mass media, then they will remove your links. And a minor media link, they might remove you, and your word that you did it often isn't good enough. So I don't know if it's still there or not, but I did make one of the first ebooks ever.